fabulous. Three of them, well no, two of them have physical locations you can go to. The other two will travel to you and come to your location in order to bring you an experience. And I wanted to make sure that we highlighted these people because it is important that we spend here locally. And one of the people, the reason I wanted him on was because, have you ever heard of Starbucks before? Raise your hand if you've heard of Starbucks. So what would you do if you already had an existing coffee business, selling coffee, knocking out, build a community, and Starbucks moved next door? What would you do? Well, Jermaine Benson can tell us what he did, okay? Jermaine is in the back, and I feel like he has such an amazing story because a lot of people would have folded. They would have allowed Starbucks to just crush their dreams. And obviously he was on to something, which is why they moved in next door. So he's gonna be joining us. So Jermaine, come on up. Now, how many of you drink the spirits called beer? The beer spirits? Don't act like this, y'all. Stop. Not the SBC. We already praise God. It's okay. Stop acting like this, y'all. Okay. So, did you know that there's a black-owned brewery right here in Durham? Oh, okay. Have you been?
Yes.
Okay. So who hasn't been? Raise your hand. Oh, well, you need to go because not only do they serve beers, they serve vibes. And so you have a place that you can go to that you can utilize for events as well. Let's bring up Mike Carter. Come on up, Mike Carter. Now, if you said, I might want to get a little wasted, do you have some delicious beverages that I can partake of? And or, do you have a juicy mocktail with a nice piece of just garnish in it, just looking beautiful that makes you just want to just drink every sip? I would say, of course, and you need to hire Daisha there because she is going to bring that to you. Bring your hands on. Come together. Come on up here, Daisha. And last but not least, the person that I told you about, who was our breakfast sponsor for year one, who year 3 was our lunch sponsor. So raise your hand if you came last year and y'all ate up all the food and this is how we changed it this year. Because I'm telling you, all I had was a corner of a low tag. Alright? And I was disgusted last year. At the end, she was like, you didn't get, I said, I tried. People just ate up everything. And then let me tell you what really made me mad. Somebody had the nerve to leave with a plate for somebody else. And I was so disgusted with that person. And I said, now that was my plate that she left with. But she had already put her hands on it. You know, once people put their hands on stuff, you don't, okay, but I should have told her to put the plate back. But that's why I didn't have. So this is why this year we customized everything. And so I want you to put your hands together for Queen Precious Jewel. And this panel is going to be fabulous because one of my favorite people is going to moderate it, and she's going to give you the energy that you need. And she is an amazing coach. And if you need somebody to get you together, to get those ideas out of your head, because who has ideas in their head? What they doing? Rattling around. Okay. But if you need them to actually do what they're supposed to do, I talk to this person way too much, which is why so many things happen. All right? So if you're tired of the things being in your head and not actually getting done, then this is why you need to hire LaShawn Harley, who is going to be our host for this panel. Put your hands together.
I'm going to stand in the middle, make sure I'm not in anybody's way, because I want everybody's focus to be on you all. Because this is all about you all. So thank you all for being here today. And what I want to do is, you all serve more than just drinks and food. You all actually provide a vibe. And it's all about an experience for people working with you all to come to your events and establishments, which is what Give It to the People is all about. It's all about experience. Can you give us what was, and since we're talking about sip, that sip moment of clarity that that you have with your business? You can start, I'll start on the start.
feel like I got trapped. So moment of clarity, to start my business, you said?
Yes, and think of it as what made you have clearly know that this was your home?
Okay, so I have been a professional chef since 2014. And yes, and the moment that I knew it was my calling is I prayed upon it. The real story is I prayed upon it. I was working corporate America and doing various catering jobs, and would go to work in the morning, sleep in the car, go to the kitchen, and wash and repeat and do it again. And I got burnt out from doing that. And then so I finally had to sit down with myself, sit down with my wife and say, look, something's got to give. And I prayed, and God said, you got to take a leap of faith. And so I said, all right, I'm ready. And I took that leap of faith, and the first job was from talking at a gym with my trainer, and she was bragging about some cake pops I made for her, just trying to be funny, making cake pops. And the lady was like, well, if you can get certified. And I say that, and I'm going to cut it short, I'm sorry, because I love this story because it truly shows how hard God works for you when you open and you listen and you walk in life. I said I was ready. I researched commissary kitchens because I needed to know what to do. And within 24 hours, I was certified and registered, and the people said there's no way because it takes longer. But literally, because I had prayed and I said I was open and I'm here and I'm ready, that's how I knew how easy stuff works, that it was my time and I was walking in the right path. So that's how I started.
Can you guys hear me in this? No? Okay.
I got you.
Hello. Can you guys hear me now? Yeah. Okay. So I think my moments of clarity, I have several moments of clarity, but one that kind of stands out is I was looking, as a single mom, I was looking for opportunities to not continue to tell my son no, that we couldn't do it or that we couldn't find a way. And so with that, I just started researching things that I could do. I didn't want to take on a position where I would be on the clock, because then that would kind of defeat the purpose. My goal was to kind of be more engaged with him. And so I was just kind of figuring it out. I was at work and I was working full time, and it was very obvious that I wanted to, or needed to do something different. I was in nonprofit. That is a labor of love. You do not get a lot of resources working in nonprofit. And part of that story was I went to bartending school. To cut it short, I went to bartending school and really didn't do much with it. But eventually started working with a staffing agency because I had been applying to positions, and I know now that the process because there was a lot of racism and sexism involved in the industry that I was getting into. Once I got my bartending license, you had to submit a picture and you had to submit your resume. So there were two things that were going on. I was older, and I was a Black female. And so a lot of the places that I was applying to were saying no. So that's how I kind of got into the event side of it, because I started stepping into the event side. And then I saw all these grand events. I met some wonderful people along the way. But I was like, wait a minute, they're getting a lot of money out of here. And that's not trickling down to me as much as I would like for it to. So I just kind of was like, I think I can do this. So I just kind of stepped out and started networking. I started asking anybody that I knew to, like, let me do your event. Let me make something. For all of the gatherings that I was doing with friends and family, I would do that. And that was kind of my moment that this is where I want to be.
Okay, check. Oh,
Okay.
All right. So the moment of clarity, I guess, for me, quick origin story. A lot of people will ask, like, how did you get into brewing? The main question I get, because Black people just aren't present in the brewing industry. It's not something that you see very often. I was in college. I had a roommate, and when I went to school back in the day, we ain't gonna expose exactly how far back that was. Yeah, something like that. They used to assign you as a freshman. They would assign you a roommate, and you didn't have any option really as a freshman. So they assigned me this white kid from Pennsylvania, and he used to make beer in the dorm, him and his partner who lived on the same floor. And so I was in pro-black, it was Public Enemy, it was all these, you know what I'm saying? And I could tell you I could go down another road with this story, but as far as how this kid was, but one of the things that he always tried to do was teach me how, or have me sample his beers, right? So the reason I told the pro-blacks part of it is I had all these friends that was like, man, what you doing in that room with that white boy, da-da-da-da, this, that, and that. And I said, look, I don't know him. I can't control what he does. Why is it always stinking here every time we come in here? It smells like hops and beer and stale alcohol. So those were some of the struggles that I was having with this kid. But one of the things that kind of connected us was I loved to drink, right? At that time, I had been drinking since about the 7th grade, and I started refining the palate. Thankfully, I didn't become an alcoholic. Well, at least I don't think I am. That could be, clinically, that could be a different story. But one day I just decided to taste it because I was kind of low on funds and I had no money for the infamous 40 ounce that we used to consume all the time. So I tried the beer and it was amazing. He used to brew it in a little thing called a carboy. And it had bubbles, it had all the things, elements of beer, which I never thought could be possible. And I was hooked. So from there, you know, he said, hey, well, we're brewing again this week. Come try it. And started making my own batches, getting better at it, doing it on a smaller scale, in my basement, everywhere I go, every place I had, every business that I owned. I've owned a couple of business printing companies prior to being in the brewing industry. That's my origin story of getting into beer, perfecting it, and then before I had the capital to get into the space that we're in now, I just started making myself valuable. I started producing beers, gypsy brewing, what they call gypsy brewing, having friends in the industry where I could go and make a batch without a license, promote it, not make any money off it, but promote myself and my brand. And I started a blog about black people and beer, and it made me a face recognizable and a name that people could call on whenever there was, when the DEI craze was big, I was the guy. Oh, let's get some more black people, let's get, you know, so that put me in position for a project that no one else wanted to take, and the funding was able to get to me a lot faster because I had made myself a valuable person and commodity in the craft beer industry. So I think just the passion of wanting to start my own brand and being accessible and being ready was how I got started, for the most part.
So I would say my moment of clarity probably came a few years in, actually. So initially I had the opportunity to invest in a coffee shop on 9th Street called 9th Street Coffee House. I just wanted to be kind of hands-off, just an investor. That owner had some health issues, moved back up to New York. I had the opportunity to take it over, so I took it over, rebranded it as Triangle Coffee House. And 9 years later, I'm still kind of amazed that I own a coffee shop, because initially I never really was even a coffee drinker. But my moment of clarity came years later after seeing that so many people would just come up to me, thanking me for being a part of the community. I would see kids come to Duke as high school students on a campus visit. Then they would come as students. They, graduate, leave, get married, have kids, and they're coming back. I have an older couple that used to come on little dates, sit down on the sofa and meet. Now they're married. So just the people from the community that comes to the shop and patronizing me and just thanks me for being there made me realize I am doing the right thing and keep it going,
I love that. I love how you talk about the folks that keep coming back, because that must mean you're doing something right. And we talked about the fact that you all have a vibe with what you're doing and experiences that people go through. But everybody doesn't want to pay for that vibe, but they want to experience the vibe. So how do you get people to value the price that you have? What do you do about those who don't value and want to pay that price? So I'll start this way, come back around.
Yeah. Well, first you have to know your core, your base. So that's who you're serving. Those are the people that are going to keep your lights on. So you serve those people. You want to serve a good product and just have a welcome environment that's for all. I have a pretty diverse customer base of all ages, all career paths and stuff like that. So I just try to make sure that I'm comfortable for everyone to come visit. And then I do try to price fairly. I try to be a little bit cheaper than Starbucks and stuff like that. But you know, just serving a premium product at a fair price and just having a welcome environment, you know.
Yeah, I can echo that as far as the welcoming environment. We have the space that's really laid out more my personal style. And we like to have people come in of all races, all colors, all ages, really over 21, obviously, to you know, feel comfortable about using the space, feel comfortable about consuming the product. And I think a knowledge of the product is what helps us not really get a lot of questions about what our price points are, because they're drinking something and they're experiencing something that they haven't done before, or they just heard about. So when we can explain the levels and the layers and how much goes into each one of our 14 different taps, maybe 20 different styles, price points go out the window, and it's pretty comfortable. We've had, maybe in the 2 years that we've been open, maybe one complaint about the price. Still paid it, but never came back. So, and that's fair and that's understandable. Craft beer is not for everybody, so we didn't really mind. Hopefully they experience it somewhere else, or hopefully they spend the money on something more valuable. But that's kind of how we keep the prices fair and have everybody comfortable and happy in our space.
Okay. You want me to go? Okay. So we're in a different space on this side of the table. Because we are service-based businesses, it's a little different. So people are not just kind of walking down the street and like, oh, this is cute. Let me see who this is. It's a little different. So you do have to prove yourself a little bit. I personally have invested a lot of time, effort, and energy into learning the industry trends, learning service styles, learning profiles, and all of those things. So a part of my communication with clients is adding that value to them, creating that space for them, customizing things for them, showing them that I am knowledgeable. Because I am a Black woman in a male-dominated space, and I am an older Black woman in a male-dominated space, and it's typically white males. So it has been educating myself in a way that I can speak to what their needs are, but also adding value to what the experience is going to be. So I'm going to interview you a little bit and kind of find out a little bit about what your event is, what you're celebrating, because I am going to be a partner with your celebration, whatever that celebration is, whether it's a birthday or a milestone work experience, or whether it is kind of bringing your team together. All of that matters, and so I have to communicate that I am a partner in this with you, and we're creating this event together, but also I know what I know, and I'm going to help you along the way, and I'm going to show you that along the way as well, and so that just matters. I think that has been the biggest thing, and I know that everybody is not my client. So if you're looking for rum and coke, I'm not your girl. If you're looking for, and there's nothing wrong with any of that, but that's just not what I do. I'm a little bit more of an elevated palate, or a little bit more of a, I want to teach you
That's the name of my business.
You're right. Plug. But I am going to give you a different experience, and it is not necessarily just that small thing, but it is educating people about what they're consuming, because I am going to tell you a little bit about what you're consuming if we sit down and kind of talk about that. If you have a favorite spirit or flavor profile that you want to incorporate, I am going to talk with you through that so that you feel comfortable when you're working through it. But again, I realized pretty early on that everybody is not my client. When I first came out, I was like, oh yeah, I want to service everybody. But again, there's a value add that I bring. And so I'm okay with saying, okay, you're not my client.
And I piggyback that, mirror that, amen that, with that. Because one of the things that even when I was doing catering before, right now I'm doing private chef only, everybody was like, ooh, you're more expensive than the ones out there. I was like, well, that's the experience I'm giving you. And a lot of times, because when I first started, I didn't show anybody my face. My face was not on the business, none of that stuff, because I said, I didn't want people not to pay me because they saw the Black caterer, and every time they saw who I was, the price point went down a little bit in their mind. And so, but when they tasted the food, they didn't know race. They did the same thing I have with food. I love food. Food is my love language. And I know there's a story behind it, and that's where the experience comes in. So I wanted you to experience that. I also, into the business by talking to other mentors and being frustrated, somebody finally said, not everyone deserves to, at my time, the business called indulge. It said, not everyone deserves to indulge. And I first was like, ooh, that's kind of crass. But then I realized she's right. Not everyone deserves, not meaning that they can't, but that they shouldn't, because you're not the right fit for them. And once you realize who your client is, then it won't bother you when the other people come and start scoffing their noses, because you're not my client, it's okay. It doesn't bother me. I can say no to you faster because you're not my client. If you buck at my price, that means you don't understand the value that I'm bringing. So I have to make sure, one, that I'm the subject matter expert, and when I step in the room, you understand that I'm the chef, and I'm producing this experience for you culinary-wise. So you come to me for a reason. You came to me, I didn't come to you. So now let's make sure we go past that. You already know what you're going to spend. Also, my optics say that this is the chef, and you are going to pay her a premium. So go ahead and just do it, period. And then I deliver. I think that was the main things that I had to remind myself, is that if you walk the walk and can talk the talk, then you're good. And not everybody. I have a budget, even when I worked in sales. I used to tell my agents, what's your take-home number that you're gonna be good with? Everything else under that is not an option. Everything over that is just icing on the cake. But if you have a number that you're good with, you can work 1 day a week, or you can work 30 days a month. But me personally, I know what I need at the end of the month. So if I have 2 events, I'm good. If I have 4 events, I'm good. But that also means that I can also pick the right clients. Absolutely. And make sure I can get the right clients. So that's why for me, I hope I did not go too far in the loop, but that's just how I'm able to pick my right clients, also have the right clients come to me, because I project myself in a way that, you know, if I need an event, it's going to be an experience, and I don't have to worry about the food. I'm going to go find Chef Quinn.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that you all are at different stages and in different aspects of the food and beverage arena, but you all are saying the same thing. But more importantly, I hope folks are getting the fact that you all are confident in what you're saying about what you're doing, and that you are assured about what you're doing based upon the experiences that you all have been going through and are still going through within the industry. And I bring that because food and beverage is so competitive. I mean, it's such a competitive industry, which is one of the reasons why it's hard to get funding. It's hard to, and you always have somebody new coming out. People think it's easy getting in food and beverage. Plus, not only that, customers change. Their tastes change, their values change, their lifestyles change. How do you stay competitive in this industry with all of these dynamics going on that you can't control, but you're a part of it? Let me start this way, back around.
I think you said it best, the confidence. You have to understand that you're the subject matter expert, and also find your niche. For me, my niche is elevated, healthy, flavorful food. I want to reintroduce you to flavor. And so I make sure everything I do is flavorful. And I'm not going off of that. Also, I don't do any pork, and I don't fry, because I'm a bariatric patient, so I have weight loss surgery. So I'm able to approach food a little bit different, a little healthier. And I know that that's my niche. So if someone asks me, hey, can we do, because they do it all the time, can we do a pig picking? No. Can you fry something? No. That's not what I do. I know other people who do that. And as long as I stay true to that, I make sure that I create a lane that if you want to come to me for something out of the box, you want food hanging from a chandelier, I'm going to figure out how to do that. I'm also going to do that, you know? And not everybody's going to do that and do it right. So you know who to come. And I've built that reputation over 14 years. I'm a student over 10 years. I've built that reputation to say, go to Queen. She got you covered. So, yeah.
Similarly, I am a student, a lifelong student. So I am going to take a class. I am going to go to a conference. I am going to, because I am so passionate about the space and I want to learn. So I'm going to go, I'm going to involve myself. I'm going to do the research and find out what works. I think that is my competitive advantage. I didn't realize we started around the same time, but when I first started, I was like, it wasn't as competitive as it is now. Nobody really had any mobile bar services when I first started. I felt like it was a space that was absent because I'd heard of other ones, but none of them were owned by people that looked like me. And so I had to do a lot of research outside of the area. So I went online first and started just researching. I think I found you online. But I just went on researching out because I'm like, there's gotta be somewhere for this to kind of grow from here. So I just started researching, and a lot of the people that I was researching that looked like me were not here locally. And so I was doing inboxes and phone calls and not necessarily Zoom meetings because it was a little early for that, but I would reach out, we would email, we would set up phone calls, and we would talk. And or we would instant message back and forth. And a lot of those people were a part of organizations. One of them was the USBG, which is a bartenders guild, which is kind of like a union for bartenders. But I saw people in there that looked like me. So I was like, okay, if you're there, tell me more about it. Found out there was a local chapter, started going to those meetings, and then got involved, became the VP, and I'm still engaged in that. But in that, I also met other people. So I would go to their conferences when they were hosting things because I felt like it was necessary for me to be in that space and to learn. And then I could bring it back here. Some of it translates back here, some of it doesn't, but a lot of it did. And so I've utilized that as a way to stand out. I'm also very intentional about what I do. There are different ways to get involved in the bar space. Everybody knows that. So you can do anything from clubs to events, and I chose the events portion. So I wasn't necessarily like the party, promotion type bartending service. I wanted to be professional. I wanted to have folks, because again, my philosophy is that you should not have to hold your nose to drink. So it should be something. And so people, I'm always about what it tastes like, what it looks like, because I feel like drinking or having, it doesn't necessarily have to be alcohol. That was another thing. Not a lot of people incorporated that in the beginning, but I had found people were coming up to me and almost like whispering, well, can you make me something that does not have alcohol? And I'm like, sure, because you still want to be a part of the experience. You still want to be a part of the party. You don't want to walk around with a Surly Temple and everybody else got something that looks amazing. You know what I'm saying? So it was all of those intentional things along the way that was kind of like, this is your space, make it safe, make it open, enjoy the experience, and everybody is enjoying themselves. It's gonna be an experience regardless, but you want it to stand out. And so it's the garnish, it's a whole experience. So it's not just what you taste, it's what you smell, because there are herbs involved, and there are all sorts of things that come into this experience, and I want people to walk away with that. And so I feel like that's part of my competitive advantage, is that I want you to feel the experience and not just walk away with, oh, I just had a rum and coke, And nothing against rum, I love rum, so I said that a couple of times.
There's several ways that you can get or create a competitive advantage, and if you've heard two of them already. Our main way, I think, and one of my favorite ways is we have a narrative, we have a story to tell with a lot of our products. I can incorporate my personal story. I mean, we have like 10 different stories that we could tell in one beer drinking experience. When they see the equipment and the stainless steel and the fermenters, then that's a story. They see a black man in beer once again, that's a story. But I think the main story is related to, if they choose, and I hate talking, by the way, to customers. I mean, I shouldn't say I hate talking to customers. It's not my favorite thing to do, but by the, sitting down, when someone sits down and orders a beer, directly to the product that they're consuming, there's a story and a narrative. What's the beer made of? And typically most people come in with some education on like these different styles that we create. But what's my twist to it? Why, what did you do? Why is this IPA better than the IPA at Full Steam, or the other breweries in town? I shouldn't have mentioned Full Steam, but so I can tell them what I was thinking when I started to make this product, and they can taste it and say, okay, I see what you're saying. I taste that, I smell that, and then we also, being that we me personally create 90% or better of our brand and the design can labels. Why did you choose this name? So for example, our flagship beer is Hayti Haze. I chose that for obvious reasons, to pay homage to the Hayti district, to give awareness to a lot of folks who were born and raised in Durham and are black people that still never heard of Hayti or pronounce it Haiti. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a narrative in the product, and that can extend over 2 or 3 visits. And then my opportunity, once I have you in, look at the screens, look at the lounge, look at the courtyard, look at all of the things. Oh, can I do an event here? Oh yeah. So we're able to kind of stay a step ahead of the game because we have narratives specific to our products, and they talk and speak directly to black people. So a lot of black folks, our palates are elevated. Like these 2 ladies can tell you, and they told you, they're looking for a certain client, as are we. And we've elevated from the Heinekens and the 40s. We're now consuming these type of beverages that I've put my heart and soul into creating. So that's one of the ways that we try to get people back and continue to elevate. The next time they come back, they're like, what's new? And it's my job to have a new story for them for the next time they come to visit.
I think the main 2 things that I do to stay competitive, because there are a lot of coffee shops in Durham, especially now, is I try to keep an innovative menu. So I have drinks that you're not going to get anywhere else in the Triangle. I think I have the best coffee shop menu in the area, if you ask me honestly. I get people that come in to visit that live in other cities and states, and they'll come back and they say, hey man, I had to come here first stop to get that Mayan Mocha. I can't find it anywhere, or this Galaxy Lemonade. I just think about it every time I come back and I come grab it. So I keep that innovative menu of items that you can't get anywhere else. I have just as much non-coffee drinks as I have coffee drinks to, widen my customer base. And then the number 1 thing is just listening to your customers, taking their feedback and just implementing that in your business. And they're going to tell you what's wrong, what they like, what they don't like. And if you listen to them, you'll keep your core base. When I was on 9th Street, there was maybe 5 coffee shops within one. I had Francesca's next to me. There was another coffee shop down the block, Starbucks across the street, and then Close around the corner, and Cocoa Cinnamon. And we all were packed because, everyone had their core. And I think that just from listening to your customer base and just providing them that experience that they like over and over again, and keeping your core happy.
I think I'll add to a little bit to both of those statements is, I think oftentimes the thought or theory was that we're a monolith in what we do. And that if you are, part of why I stepped into the space is because it felt like no one was speaking to the customer that I am. More so, and then I felt like I reached my tribe when I'm out, and people are like, oh, so they don't feel like you're educated enough, or you don't know enough about what you do, what you like and don't like. And so that's also been a competitive advantage, is to know that we're not a monolith. Like, people are very different, so I don't necessarily have to, like the same things as you like, but I can certainly incorporate those things in and provide a little education with that, because you may not know what you like if I don't explain it to you. So I think that's another way to be competitive as well.
I love how you all answer that question, because I hope what the audience is getting out from what you all said is, number 1, know your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Stay true to that why, and then getting to know the customers that want that why. As you say, finding your tribe, and you all stay true to that, but then you also got educated. And the education that you all mentioned goes 2 ways, which goes with the listening. You all mentioned the fact that you're educating those out in the public, but they also are educating you all. So it's more than just about speaking to folks, and it's about listening, as well as you all got out of your comfort zones. All of you all talked about, and I love the fact how you said that you don't like talking, but you still talk to customers, and then I hope people caught the irony of it. He doesn't like talking, but the experience he gives is storytelling. So it's about storytelling. So he overcame that fear to connect with his customers, but he did it in a way that was comfortable. And I like about the fact that you all are educating people the way you gave the information. It doesn't make people feel defensive, which is sometimes a way that subject matter experts don't realize they're doing that. When they're speaking to people, they're speaking to them and active, but you all talked about speaking with people. And that leads me, yes, sir.
Before you lose that thought, I think the fact that we all know our product so well is what helps us overcome any fears that we have. I can hide behind the recipe, I can hide behind the artwork, I can hide behind so many things trying to talk to somebody that I'm uncomfortable having a conversation with because I'm very knowledgeable of what I do. You know, so I think we all mentioned that.
You're not really hiding, it's just that those things are your comfort, so they
express
where you are.
Personally.
But I just want to say, because a lot of times it is a fear, but we can overcome the fear by being authentically ourselves. You're not an imposter. You're being authentic by using those things that are helping you, and that's what helps you overcome the fear. And I'm so glad you all are bringing it up. Queen looks like you want to say
I just
something.
want to say
I'll go with the Queen.
one thing that people fail to realize sometimes is that when you don't see yourself in a space, it devalues your story.
does.
And so by us speaking up, we give people value in their story. They understand. When I tell people I'm from the Bronx and I come from the Bronx, so when you give people a story behind, hey Ty and your beer, they say, oh yeah, because I'm from there. Oh yeah, well so you understand this spice? Yeah, I do understand that. Oh okay, so they come at you in a different light. And that validates how much of a subject matter expert you are because you're providing them with a subject that they are familiar with, that they don't see that narrative out there. Or when they go to a restaurant, when they go to a high-end restaurant, when I tell people I want to do high-end catering and high-end chefing, they're like, so how high-end is that? And I'm like, what? I don't understand. Like, that doesn't value with me. Or when I hire people and I go, so tell me about your restaurant, what's a high-end restaurant for you? And they say, Cheesecake Factory. Nothing wrong with Cheesecake Factory. But I'm like, that's the highest you've been? And they're like, yeah. Because they're scared to go into some of these other spots because they think somebody's going to look at them crazy, not know how to use the right fork or anything of that nature. And I'm like, no, we're going to have fun with this. We're going to have fun. We're going to tell a story behind it. We're going to have a joke behind it. It allows them to see how authentic we are and how much they really should be our client. And that's why they need to choose us, because we can relate to them in a different way.
I love what you're talking about.
Go ahead.
I want to fight because you're going right into where I wanted to lead into. You talk about hiring, so you're talking about team. So a lot of times you're trying to hire people, bringing people on, and people can have the greatest of intentions and want the best, but they may not be the right fit for your team, including yourself, because sometimes we are our worst enemy when we're a team of one. How do you get your message across to the team and making sure you have the right team in the right place at the right time? So I'm starting with you, Queen.
You have to know your message, period. If you don't even know what you're talking about and you cannot convey your message fully, then nobody behind you can understand what you're talking about. There's so many times that I'm in the kitchen and I have to say, wait. Do I want to grow or do I want to stand? Once I remembered and reminded myself that I am a business and I want to grow in business, then I had to change my systems. Now, I also have people behind me who have been in business longer than me that I ask the question, how do I grow? How do I grow? I don't want to just be a mom and pop, a caterer, chefing, all of that stuff. I want it to grow. I want to have a product. I want to have profits. I want this to be my only job because I want it to be my career. And so how do I do that? And so I had to have systems in place. And I also had to step away from saying, I don't know. I don't know how to do bookkeeping. I don't know how to do accounting. I don't know how to do marketing. I had to step away, and if I'm not going to do it, find a subject matter expert that can do it. One of my coaches said to me, and I laughed because I never had nobody tell me this. She said, I write a mean check. I was like, what are you talking about? She said, if I don't know how to do it, I know how to write a check for somebody who does. There's no need for me to sit up here and act like I know how to do these things. And I go, oh snap, you are right. She'd find somebody to solve that, to solve that problem that she had, so her business can grow. And so that's the same thing for me. When I hire people, I'm able to give them my recipe, and I also have to step away because it's my baby, and you're gonna coddle your baby. So if I write a recipe, I hand it to my staff, and I walk away. And I also created a spot of trust with my staff that they can say, leave. Like even today, I was like, okay, what you need me help with? And my staff was like, go get ready. Go put your shirt on. Change your hair. Come to the kitchen roll. And I was like, oh snap, that's right. I'm supposed to be sitting up there. But you have to be able to trust yourself enough to hand it over to the right people that still have your vision and your mission and understand who your audience is. They have to be able to think similar to you, not like you because there's only one you, but they have to think similar enough to you to uphold your values of your business to not taint it. And if you can't trust them, they shouldn't even be in the building.
I am going to give a nod to Miss Katie Gales over here, who has told me on several occasions, girl, bartending is a lot. You're going to get older and you're going to have to step from behind that bar. You can't work for every dime that you make. And so I have had to take that realization in. Again, if you want to grow, you have to be able to step away from it, and you have to trust the process. And you have to trust that and I do this with my son as well as my staff, like I have to at some point get to a point where I can trust that what I've said, you can execute it, whether I'm there or not. And I have had to have that, because I wanted to be everything and I wanted to handle everything, and it's just not sustainable. And you get burnt out, it gets hard, it gets dark, it gets lonely when you're trying to do everything yourself and things are running through your head a mile a minute and you just can't focus on it. And I've been in that space and I don't want to go back to that space. So I have to empower those around me, and I want my brand to show that, you know, we are knowledgeable, we are professional, like we are going to give you what you ask for. But I've got to trust them. I've had to have candid conversations with them. I treat them as if how I've always wanted to be treated. I've always thrived in situations where people have given me the tools, allowed me to use them, and then it doesn't necessarily have to be my way, but if you got a better idea, I'm open to it. And I want to know them as a person. They're not just completing tasks for me. You're not just signing up for a shift for me. If you're having a bad day or if something is going on in your life, I want to know about that as well, because you matter to me, not just from the tasks that you create or the tasks that you do around me. Because again, that often gets in the way. If you have things in your head that you can't get out, then it makes it hard to work. And we're dealing with people, and sometimes they're nice, sometimes they are not. And we also are dealing with people that, and some instances are not knowing their level where they need to stop at. So we got to be able to communicate those things as well. And so just kind of empowering them to be their best selves, and then also trusting that what I've said, or I'm leading by example. So if you're watching me, then you know how to interact with others. That's kind of it. And also farming things out, because I am not all things well. So I know where I am well. And so when I'm not well, I can, find somebody to kind of help with that.
One of the things we have to, you guys hit it on the head, trying to prevent burnout, trying to avoid doing everything yourself, trusting in other people. One of the things that I learned as I go is as I'm molding other people, I'm also working on myself, so that when I have to let somebody go, or I have to reprimand, or have to get in somebody's behind, I realize how did I contribute to the problem, so the next person that comes on board, we don't repeat the same thing, because I can't afford to have the same employee 6-7 times a year. And in the food and beverage industry, it's high turnover. It's not the same after COVID. Everybody wants to be a rock star. Everybody wants to be their own. You know what I mean? So they don't come in. They come in out of desperation, as opposed to out of need to be a part of a family or a business. Because in the minute that they don't feel like they're getting what they want, then they're going back to being internet guru or whatever it is that they feel they're supposed to be in life. So I genuinely try to continue working on my processes, like Sis, you said, knowing where you're going and what your message is and what you need for yourself. You can't tell anybody else if you don't know. You can't direct, you can't lead if you don't know where you're going, what you want. And I've been guilty of that, where I'm like, look, you seem like a capable individual, figure it out. Come on. And I come back,
come on
and it's
in
not
here.
figured out, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, how did that happen? Well, would happen if you were if someone was asking you to do something and I don't know nothing about making a beer and I don't even know how to pour a beer. How do you expect me to give the product that you're looking for? So, you know, patience again is another part of it. You gotta be resilient because turnover in this industry is heavy and you lose patience quick. So you gotta you know, work with folks, teach them, at the same time be firm enough that they're gonna get the messaging and get the process before you have to maybe let them go or, you know, something like that.
Yeah, so I just try to lead by example. So, you know, I am the owner and their boss, but I'm also one of them. So I'm in the trenches with them making drinks. We got a line out the door. I'm not gonna just be sitting on the side chilling. I'm behind the counter making drinks. Put good processes in place and frameworks that they understand, and ask them to hold me accountable as well. Like I will hold them accountable. So if there's something that I'm slipping on and I'm not doing well, let me know, and just keep that open, transparent communication with your staff. And I think you'll have a good program rolling. I have pretty low turnover, surprisingly. I don't know if it's coffee or people just like working for me, but there's people that come and stay for years, surprisingly, just making coffee at Triangle Coffee House. So.
Yeah, that's great.
That's wonderful. And I'm going to stay right there when you talk about the employees, because you mentioned also at the very beginning how people in the community keep coming back, that you basically have been a destination. So how has the community been involved with your businesses? And I want to go beyond just the community as we think about the people that are right there, but even the community when we're talking about people you collab with or people you connect with. How has community helped you to grow your business?
For sure. So through a lot of events, I have like an outdoor space. So we're actually having an event tonight. If anyone wants to come out, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. is called We Got the Jazz. So that's going to be a cool vibe tonight. But just working with, you know, local promoters and people, artists in the community. So we have like a lot of local art, you know, in our shop. We did a book signing with a local author. So just, you know, working with the local artists and people in the community, keep them coming in, and they're bringing their following to me as well, which gives me more visibility. So just, you know, try to work with as many local artists and, you know, organizations as possible. I think it's been successful for me.
Yes, I think it's well established. Durham's an event-based town, event-based city. Artists, you know, we work with a lot of artists. We have events as well, so it's very similar. This gives us the opportunity to kind of slowly, incrementally spread our message and our product. But having event planners, you know, come and provide, you know, events and curated experiences is one of the ways it definitely helps our business grow.
I think for me, I've grown because I do a lot of networking. I am out and about meeting people. One of my largest referrals is word of mouth. So once people have experienced me or somebody tells them about me, then they'll tell others. So the community at large has grown through that space. But I've also, when I mentioned earlier how I've reached out to people, representation matters. And so when I saw other Black bartenders, I reached out to them and we've created community. I'm now in a group chat with bartenders all over the country and all over the world, actually, because there are some that are in like Puerto Rico and other places. But we build each other up. We communicate with each other. We share information. And so that helps us because I know that this can be lonely, especially if you don't know what you're doing or how to get involved, especially with the changing navigation of landscaping and, you know, all these things that are coming out. Everything is changing in the beverage and hospitality space consistently. So we went from COVID where nothing was open to now everybody, like you said, this is their moment to shine. And so it is very important to lean into community. Community is very important. As a people, we have always been community minded. And so for me, I feel like that is one of my biggest things. And it's also one thing that I used to do during February was I used to highlight Black-owned brands, spirits, because not a lot of people even knew about them, that we even had Black-owned spirits and brands, or people that were in the beverage space. So I took that time to kind of do that research and kind of share that out, because again, representation matters. If you don't know it's out there, you don't know what you're looking for. And so I feel like just being genuine in your approach and connecting with people. I'm a people person naturally, but not everybody is, so I try to make that space comfortable where people feel comfortable approaching me, and that's part of how I share my community out.
And I agree. I also believe that community is different faceted. So I make sure in growing the business, my community made sure that they know what I do. I think that's also the biggest part of growth. I'm trying to make sure I don't go too far. But for me also, community is not just Durham, it's also, I look for people that are doing the thing that I want to do elsewhere as well. And then I try to connect with them. Like my coach, she's in Charlotte. I have other people in California. I have people that I talk to that are overseas, because my palate, the way I love food and the way I think about food is different, and a lot of times I don't find that here. And so I look other places, and so that creates international community for me, but it can also a local community of entrepreneurs. Because sometimes you try to talk to people who are not in this entrepreneurial space, and they don't look at you like you lost your mind. They don't understand why it's 3 o'clock in the morning and your mind is still on everything, and you want somebody to text at 3 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's like, why you text me at 3? Because this is when my brain turned on. And so I need my community to understand, at 3 in the morning her brain goes turn on. I don't have to answer her, but I'm probably up anyway. So I can say something, And so that having that type of community also helps you thrive.
It does.
Because you don't get that lonely space. So when you're in that lonely space, you're like, listen, I don't know why these 2 colors didn't work. I didn't know why this client came to me and asked me this crazy behind question. They asked me the same thing. Great. It's like an accountant talking to somebody who doesn't do accountant work. You're like, I don't want to talk about that. So that's how I look at community. My community is not just local, because don't get it twisted, Durham has truly built my business and helped me to grow, and really has stood behind me and said, Chick, you are different, go be different, and we're going to embrace your different. But there's also people who are in France, in Puerto Rico, in New Mexico. It's like, girl, you do that too? Ooh, this is what we call that over here. That's what I call it over here. And so I use my community also as diaspora to use my community to say, let's try and do different things. And that helps me also keep grounded and to grow in who I am in my trade. So I'm not just a one-trick pony. I actually can do other things.
Yep. Schedule sins.
Guess what?
So
My best friend.
Thank the panel. One thing, my takeaway, and I'm looking to you all, but I hope these are some of your takeaway, that you can say to yourself some of your mantras. And remember we talked about this morning about having mantras for your mental wealth. The first one I got from everything that you all said is that success is my possibility. So success is my possibility. The second one that I got from you all was that I need to stay in my purpose. And the third is I need to stand in my position. And if y'all didn't catch that, those were all sips. So those were 3 sips. So every time you take a sip, think about those 3 things and say it to yourself. Because that's what all 4 of them have spoken about and told you all. Now, Chisa, how do you want them to place themselves? Because we want folks to connect with them and talk to them. So I'm going to let you do the rest of
So this is what's going to happen. The lunch is being completed in the back. It's marvelous. And so I'm going to bring up somebody first, and then I'm going to let you have to. I'm going to come in the room and tell you where we're going to be having some lunch. Now I'm getting savory with you. Two things over here? Okay, great. So I want to bring up one of our sponsors. John, if I can have you come up, the National Institute for Minority Economic Development. Because we also want to educate you about what's really happening in real time here, so that you know what's going on.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon.
Good
This is a
afternoon.
great space.
Yay!
I was missing some people. So I want to share an initiative with you that the National Institute on Minority Economic Development has available for businesses in downtown Durham. It's called the Business Retention and Recruitment Fund. This is a fund that is being developed through HUD, partially through Downtown Durham Inc., but it will provide grants. I want everybody to say that with me on three. 1, 2, 3.
Grants.
Grants to help you expand the business, move a business to downtown Durham, or if you're currently in downtown Durham, you can use it for upfitting, renovation, those kinds of things. The beauty of this is on 1, 2, 3, they are
Grants.
grants. Grants are a limited amount, only $50,000, so if you need more than that, we also will have some loan dollars available for you. The proximity is about a mile of this area, heading toward Hayti, and the goal here is that we want to make sure there are diverse businesses in downtown Durham, and these dollars will help you do just that. So more information is here at the table. You can see myself, Kevin Price, our president and CEO, Ms. Phyllis Thornton, who's on the team, and you can reach out to me, and I can share the information with you, but want to make sure you all know that this is available, and please, please, please take advantage of it. Thank you.
So she doesn't know that I'm getting ready to do this. This is what happens when you're in charge, you can do what you want to do. So this person decided last year that they were going to be a fiscal sponsor. Do y'all know what that means?
Money.
All year, okay? We need more of those. Yes, Jesus, in the Tamarine's name. And so we've been working together, teaming, doing some wonderful things. But this next thing that I'm about to let her tell you, I love doing groundbreaking news. So, y'all know we lived in Greensboro for 18 years, right?
Yes.
Now raise your hand if you're still in the Greensboro or the Triad area. Okay, so y'all know it got dry once I left, right? Just telling you, that's why y'all need these six. That's why y'all going to learn. But we're going to be able to quench your thirst because Latasha, that's Gabby. Come on up here and tell me what you're about to do. All right. Well, of course, as you know, I work in partnership with other nonprofit organizations, and so one of them is National Institute, and they have several women's business centers across North Carolina and Virginia. So